Anyway, yeah, really sorry to hear about your whiskey take, dude. That's probably why you don't drink Jack Daniels anymore. Anyway, I'm going to head off to bed. Enjoy the show. Have a good one. Good night, guys.
Good night,
Nice.
brother.
Well, we don't really know who that was about, but anyhow, this is Jody with the Whiskey Rebellion Barcast, and I am your commissioner, and these are our guys, and this is our virtual world, and we're having a good time, and pretty fired up tonight. Fired up. Word. Anyhow, guys, how's everybody doing? Cheers to everyone.
Hey.
Cheers,
Welcome to the
gentlemen.
show. I know tonight it's going to be our, we're going to talk about old fashions and obviously clear ice. I did not prepare for an old fashioned, so I'm just drinking Eagle Rare straight, neat, I should say. I'm just having a good time with that. So, Jonathan, welcome to the show, man.
Cheers, guys.
Well, Jesus ain't there. Anyway, Rob.
I don't know, he might be.
We don't have the copyright to that music. You better keep that on silent.
Watch out. Watch out.
Oh, this is old music. It's probably not even copyright. Don't even worry about a copyright.
All right, well,
So yeah, boys, tonight I am sitting at the Renaissance of Tiffin. I am enjoying an old fashioned this evening, made with Rittenhouse rye. And a little bit later, I'm going to ask the bartender to walk us through making an old fashioned for us. And he's agreed to do it.
I will be judging him.
you know,
I'm
it was
sure
him.
you will, Jeff.
He just said he.
So what if that was her preferred pronouns?
Then I used it.
Oh gosh, let's not.
Anyway, Jonathan. Hey, Rob pushed mute. There you go.
He did.
Jonathan, what did we have in, man?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to Billy. I'm over here sowing rows and plowing hoes tonight, drinking some.
My man.
Yeah, my man is what you want to say.
I did.
And you know, we got to watch that because one of our viewers was like, I had to turn it off three quarters through because you guys got stupid. I was like, well, it wasn't because anybody's drunk. It just our story went that way, kind of just veered off.
Okay.
I've been looking for some good lobster bisque since.
Oh my God.
Well, that's
No,
good.
no,
That's good.
no.
You should.
Anyway,
definitely
Jonathan, go
do
ahead.
that.
Continue. You were thinking.
So I did a bottle kill, the Old Forester single barrel, finished that off. And then for second round, it's gonna be my first time having Booker's. This is Booker's from 2020. This is Granny's batch.
Is that a baby bottle?
No.
It's a full size bottle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have several Bookers, and I didn't realize it looked that tiny on video. That's what she said. Anyway, continue.
No, it'd be my first time having Booker's, so I'm excited to have it.
I personally find Bookers to be fantastic, and their what's it called? Their the chapters are fantastic. So, all right, David.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
Tonight I am drinking Riverset Rye. This was based off of a post I think that Jay Cooper had put up about like the 10 best Tennessee whiskeys or whatever. And I saw it and I saw the price point, and I haven't had a rye in a really long time. And I was like, yeah, I'll try that because it's $30 for about, I'll hold it up a little bit. You guys can see better. And it's got that cool riverboat. It's out of Memphis. It's the same people who make Blue Note, I think. And I got to say at this price point, especially, it's really nice for a rye that it's not really harsh for a rye. This is, I believe, 93 proof. It's a nice finish. It's kind of a, so I've been reading different people's tasting notes. So I'll just put this out there, and not like I'm some kind of connoisseur, but it sounds accurate to the description, describing it as having like an oily mouthfeel, like it's heavy on your tongue kind of thing. And it is, but in a pleasant way. It feels substantive where you could expect otherwise a $30 rye would be not that great. But this one I think is really nice. And I'm enjoying it. So I'm glad it made it on that list and into my cupboard. So cheers.
Nice.
Guys.
And you recently found out, you discovered how many actual bottles of bourbon or whiskey or spirits you had in the house.
Yeah, I'm up to 31 now with this guy. And by the way, I got to read this. It was on the back of the label. I won't read the whole thing, but there was a really cool, well, I think lovely tie-in to the show. They described this as, we don't want to sacrifice, flavor for smoothness and this and that. And then they said, this is our rye rebellion. is on the back of the bottle. I was like, oh, that's cool. This will be a good one for the show then. So
Nice.
there you
Nice. Go. Marky Mark and the Funky Bunch. Go ahead. What do you got there, brother?
What's up, my brother? So I'm sipping an old fashioned. I don't know what type. My guy made it for me. I think he mouthed me Old Forester, but I don't know which Old Forester. So
typically when they make a Old Forester with it, that I have seen from my experiences, it's the 86.
Yeah, but again, this is a place I frequent, so it could be 1920, it could be rye. I have no clue. I'll get his attention in a few and figure out what it is. I like it though, so I'm good. And I'm checking it from Fine Ash.
Nice enunciation.
Yep.
Yes.
All right, Jeff, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show, man.
Oh,
They're cracking up at me up here.
yeah, I was excited about this one, so I dressed up with my Call Me Old Fashioned shirt.
Very nice.
I'm starting the night with a coffee old fashioned.
Coffee.
So found this YouTube channel I've been watching a bit. A guy goes into cocktails and histories and stuff, and he did several on this spirit, Mr. Black. It's a coffee liqueur, but it's
who makes that? Is that out of who makes that?
It's somewhere in Australia.
Wow.
And I'll tell you, if you want later on after we're through this, I'll tell you a story about it that ties into our show on laws and stuff. But anyway, you
gotta keep your WAP off the table there.
Yeah, I do. I got 2 WAPs right now.
Fair enough.
All right.
Fair enough.
Anyway, all right. It's so I modified the recipe. I used some chocolate bitters, Woodford bourbon, and Mr. Black. It's a
Black.
phenomenal version of the old.
That sounds tasty.
It does. It does. That's the reason I'm very interested in the. You said it's a black liqueur, right?
Yeah, so it's
a coffee liqueur.
Spirits infused with 100% Arabica cold brew coffee.
That sounds fantastic. Sounds like it'd be great to start my day off in the mornings.
Oh, I took a sip of it straight before I just got it this evening, and it's really great.
Nice.
Few makes a coffee infused whiskey.
What's that?
Few? Or
they do that.
Called cold cut.
I think you did that on your spirit pours or the pour spirit. Is that what? Am I saying it correctly? Which one is?
Yeah, the pour spirit.
Yeah, you did that one. That was actually the one that you had the coffee in the morning, and then we discovered that it was like 5:30, 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah, my time.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, you got to start somewhere. It's 5:30 sometime.
They
never said AM
You
or
try to
PM.
tell me that you don't drink early in the morning, and I was like, dude, I watched your videos. I've honestly seen on the pour spirit that you were pouring a drink at like 6:30 in the morning.
If you're gonna
on a Monday.
Yeah.
I get all day. You have to start in the morning. So start with coffee and spirits in the morning. Perfect.
Well, since Jack is already up and running, why don't you tell us what you're having, brother? I know it has something to do
I'm
with
actually just trying to kill off this bottle, this Blue Note here. Store pick wine spirit provisions, or spirit wine provisions. Their bottle pick. It's 107 proof. I've had this on the show before. Didn't want to do an old fashioned right now. I don't have any simple syrup, i.e., I just didn't want to take the time to make some. And I just find the old fashioned just a little bit too sweet, or something's just not quite right with them. So I'm not really a big, huge fan of them. So that's why I'm just doing the Blue Note. You know, like I said, it's a single barrel 10-year on this one. It is made by the same people that makes David's Rye over there, BR Distilling Company. I believe that this stuff here is actually sourced MGP, because actually in the back of the bottle it just says, well, it actually says distilled in Tennessee and bottled by BR Distilling.
Yeah, near as we can tell, that particular bottle is probably a Dickel sourced, and then they've got a juke joint, which is around a 25 to 30 price point, that is somewhere out of Kentucky. right now they don't have their own distilled spirits. I think the rye is an MGP.
Gotcha. Well, everybody likes a good Dickel.
That's right.
Fantastic. All right, moving
Right
on
on,
from
champ.
Dickel. Billy, Mr. Cafe 305. How are you doing, man?
Yes, fellas. Hope everybody's doing well. And forgive me if you hear a lot of stuff in the background.
No, it's just
The
Rob.
sky is currently falling here in Miami. But
Is it raining?
Yeah, it's raining quite heavily, actually.
Hey, I'm muted.
I know you are, Rob. I was being facetious.
I am going to do a bottle kill on the Heaven Hill 7-year.
Nice.
So
One of my faves. I love Evan Hill.
I was fortunate enough to get my hands on a full case. So I have reserve. So my only justice is to go ahead and finish this off. And you see what I have left. I've been killing all my bottles. I wasn't going to kill this one until I got my hands on another one. So tonight, it dies. It has lived this last day.
You know, I had a sample of Heaven Hill 7-year, that specific bottle last night from mine, and I had to cut it off because it's one of those ones, as maybe it was Mao, it described it as slap yourself in the face and put it over in the corner because
No,
you want.
yeah, that was Billy. I think so.
Okay. Yeah, because you just want to sit and drink it, and so I was like, well, I heard from my man tonight, and he told me that my my bottle's en route. So I have to be honest, I had some of that bottled and bond 7-year, and it was fantastic. And it was a nice joy to set up the day. And speaking of today, man, I want to put a plug out to them. I found the best Savannah, Tennessee. I went to all of them. I know where all 3 of them are at. Liquor stores are at in Savannah, Tennessee. And there's one right off of Pickwick, and they know who I'm talking about. And she's now a follower. By the way, we hit 100 subscribers today on YouTube, which is fantastic. And we really appreciate that approach. And you guys, what's that?
Awesome.
Sorry, I was watching the hockey game.
Oh, anyway, yeah, and hockey's cool. So, but anyway, so yeah, I want to put a plug out to them. I walked in that store and I was like, so I seen that they had 2 bottles of Eagle Rare, and I walked up to the front. And she's like, and I just started small conversation like we always do, all of us. And I was like, anytime I see Eagle Rare, I'm gonna buy it because it's becoming its namesake. She's like, yeah, I usually get some Blantons in, this, that, and whatever. Dude, she had 2 cases of Blantons. All right. I could have walked out there with 2 cases of Blantons. Now, I will be honest with you, their price point was significantly higher than where I normally get it. I did buy a couple bottles, and then I found the cutest little baby bottle, Blantons, which I'll put into maybe I'll add it to this video. It'll probably pop up right now. Anyway, and it's adorable. It truly is. And I put it right next to a straight from the barrel 122.8 proof, which is fantastic. But those guys she was fantastic. She let me go back in the back. I also got some Eagle. I got 2 bottles of Eagle Rare, 2 Blantons, 1 baby Blanton, E.H. Taylor, and then I picked up a bottle of Blue Note 9-year, just because I was out of that from. I don't remember who sent me my first bottle of Blue Note. I don't know if someone did send it to me, but I was out of it. And I was like, it's a fantastic Tennessee bourbon that I do enjoy. So guys, I'm going to let you guys pretty much take over the show. I don't care who does it, but if Rob, if your buddy's ready. Nope. Okay.
No.
Okay. Just let me know when that person is. Maybe we'll go to Jeff, but I will be honest with you. I love old fashions. I don't make them a lot at the house, mainly because of the consumption of time. And I actually prefer everything either neat or on the rocks. But when I'm out with my buddies, I do like a good old fashioned, as we've discussed before. Jeff, take it away.
So, depending on how you get the old fashioned is probably or can be the closest to neat cocktail there is. It has had a variety of incarnations through its history, and you will hear people have every story in the world on how it's supposed to be made and what it's supposed to be made with. But when you dig into the history, the old fashioned is the original cocktail. The history of it as it's known, dates back into the 1700s. So the first argument you hear people talk about is, does the old fashioned have to be rye or does it have to be bourbon? And people argue this. Technically, bourbon probably wasn't around when the old fashioned was created, because 1700s. But anyway, the reality is the old fashioned would have been made with whatever spirit was available in that area. So you'd have areas where, like New Orleans, New York, some of the coastal city stuff where they had a lot of shipping in and out, where they would have a variety of spirits. You get out into Nashville, Tennessee, Louisville, Kentucky, what would have been the far west at that time, you're only going to have whiskey probably. Maybe some of the richer people could have imported stuff, but you're going to have whiskey. Back then, probably rye, some of the early corn whiskeys, maybe. You are down somewhere in Florida, in the Caribbean, you're probably going to have rums. So the original old fashions would have been whatever spirits. So that is what I find fun about this cocktail. Try it with everything. Try it with a variety of bitters.
I'm curious, Jeff, if I can interrupt just real quick. One of the things I'm curious about is you were talking about New Orleans, and when you look at the history of how bourbon how it became to what it is, it all started with same with horse racing. It all started with the shipping the whiskey, the bourbon, down to New Orleans, where they would pick up sherry. That would be the trade sometimes, or they would just trade for money, and then they'd pick up a new horse, and then they would ride these horses back through mostly Indian territory on the Natchez Trace, all the way back up to what is now Lexington and stuff of that nature. And of course, a lot of that is fable, maybe wise tale, urban legend, but sherry. So I was thinking about when you said that, sherry and brandy, two things that are staples in the New Orleans aspects, and sherry is one of, as you guys know, I love sherry cask bourbon. I wonder what I really now I'm interested. Now I want to go buy a bottle of sherry and make an old fashioned with sherry, just to see what it would taste like. Because specifically, what I love is the taste of sherry. That fine, like almost like a resin type of where you pick up the strong fruits and that are lasting, and the almost like a raisinette type of aspect to it. I didn't mean to interrupt with that, but I think you're onto something there. I think if you made it with everything, or if there was a way to try it with everything, with the exception of tequila, I think it would probably taste horrible with tequila.
I've done it. It tastes good with tequila.
What about Jack Daniels?
It's awesome with Jack Daniels now.
It tastes better than Jack by itself, right? No,
but again, a part of it is with what spirit, I mean, what bitters. So it's like I've got an orange bitters here. I've got a cherry bitters, and I've got a lemon bitters. Or I didn't bring that one in. Use one of those with a tequila, and
more fruity.
Pair the bitters with the spirit. The funny thing about this T-shirt is I got it in Wisconsin. The official old fashioned in Wisconsin is made with brandy, and it's considered the cocktail of the state. But it also goes back to the what was in the original, and originally it was just called the cocktail. So the theory is that the old fashioned got added as other types of cocktails started becoming popular. People would go to order a cocktail and were asked what kind, they'd go the old fashioned cocktail, meaning the original. Again, that's one of those theories that borders on urban legend, or as to go back to another show, puffery. But that's the thought process. But the original recipe would have been some loaf sugar, because that's how they had it. The basically big loaves of sugar. They'd scrape some off in there. They put the bitters, a splash of water, and then whatever spirits. And that was the core of what the old fashioned is. And I found that when you start going and you just do that core, forget the orange slices, forget the cherry, forget all that stuff, you start picking up some really interesting, subtle interactions between whatever spirit you have and whatever bitters you're playing with. So one of the rums I found in Key West, this raw and unfiltered rum, it's a really dark rum. I make an old fashioned with that with orange bitters, and it's just amazing the flavors that they interact with each other. So that's what's kind of fun with the cocktail, is to try different spirits, try different bitters. One of my favorites is the Aztec chocolate bitters with a good oily bourbon, like an Elijah Craig or an E.H. Taylor, something like that. Those heavy, bourbons, those heavy bourbon spirits interacting with that chocolate bitters just pops.
Would you classify an E.H. Taylor as oily? Because I wouldn't. I've never picked that note up. Now, Elijah Craig, I absolutely agree with you.
Well, it's been I haven't had a bottle in a little bit, so and maybe not oily as it feels thicker on my tongue. You take something like to me, an Eagle Rare, a Buffalo Trace. To me, they're thinner.
I agree with you with the Buffalo Trace. The Eagle Rare, I think, has a much more spicy aspect to it, which I think is a fantastic filler for an old fashioned. We were talking about this a little bit on the last show. A lot of people like higher rise. I think Jonathan actually said something about that, or Mao did, or something like that. They like higher rise with old fashions. And for me, I prefer higher proof, but probably the best old fashioned I've ever had was an Eagle Rare. I mean, we've already discussed this ad nauseum, but I find Eagle Rare to almost be the perfect bourbon when it's available for price point and stuff of that nature. Yeah. But it's also because it's a good 10-year, has a nice spice. It has all the notes that you expect, read about, or even feel as the expression passes through on your palate that you expect. Your expectations are met. Like what you used to expect from an old, bottle and bond when it was first put into place. This is what a bourbon's supposed to taste like. That's just what I feel, but that's kind of how I am with it.
I got an Eagle Rare, I haven't opened. I might go grab it and do my next old fashioned with that.
You should.
But in any case, I tell people, to me, it's like when you start adding the fruit, I've even had bars that do just the twist of the orange peel. So they just get the essence of the oils. I find that ends up covering up those subtle flavors that the spirits and the bitters play off of each other, and you start to lose them, and the orange or the cherry overtakes it. Now, that doesn't mean that I haven't enjoyed, a more bar traditional old fashioned, because you're almost always going to have some kind of garnish in it, because people expect a garnish on their cocktail when they're spending that much money. But I encourage people to play with that. Just experiment it with it at home, get some different things and try some different things. To me, it ends up being mind-blowing what it brings out of the spirits that we end up drinking neat. It adds another dimension to it.
Let me ask, first of all, Rob, is your guy ready yet? Okay. Billy, let me ask you, because he was talking a lot about bitters, and I know Rob spoke quite a bit about it the other day as well. Do you find yourself, if you're out someplace, wanting some type of fresh aspect to it rather than almost a syrup-based bitters that are added to the drink? Because you're a chef.
Well, and my palate is a little bit different because I can taste so much. And it makes it a little difficult sometimes. So for me, the first thing, the bitters has to be a high quality bitter. You know, there's some stuff that you can get from whatever, a little hole in the wall place, and it's like, I don't know why you would put that in your drink. You know, it's almost like, wow. So for me, first and foremost, the bitters has to be a very, very high-end bitter. And I like flavored bitters as well. I do. And also for me, if I'm at a restaurant, I'm gonna be eating, it's gonna definitely determine what type of bitters I'm going with based on what I'm eating as well.
Dig it. I want to get to John and Mark because both you guys are big fans of the bitters, or I'm sorry, the old fashions as well. What do you guys find what do you find that drives you towards? I think John said that was his drink of choice when he goes out. So like, what do you find that you like to have as your main not substitute, but substance that's in there, the bourbon aspect to go with the drink? Like if you had to have your preferred, what would you want?
So I would say for me, my first choice, of course, Trinity is Angostura. It is what it is.
Right.
Yeah, those are always going to be my first go-to. Now, I haven't counted a couple places. There's one in Seattle. I wish I could remember the name.
Not the library, is it?
No, you know what? I don't know. I have to look it up. There's one excellent, but they make their own bitters. They make them, I think, like every week, and their bitters are excellent. Billy, if I figure the name out, we got to go. You'll love it. I mean, they make them every week, fresh, and they're excellent bitters. Now, where I am now, one of the good things that they do here, they have some infused bitters, some that they've kind of purchased and done their own things too, but they also will add a little bit of flame to the orange, as you can see here.
Give it that smokiness.
Yeah, so you get smoked cedar, and they actually use real cedar, of course, cigar bar. So these real cedar, but they also put a little flame to the peel. So it definitely gives it a different flavor. Like I said, this tastes different than a normal, because I don't know what the hell bourbon is in this, because I've been here with you guys, so I don't know. I hadn't had a chance to figure it out yet. More often than not, I'd say probably 80% of the time, if I get an old fashioned here, it's usually Buffalo Trace. But you know, you can always experiment. So
yeah, and burning that orange peel once you put it in a drink, and you just need to sear it. And what it does, it actually caramelizes the sugars and inside the actual peel. So when it hits the drink, it cools off, and it almost makes it explode from that point, and it adds a little flavor to it.
So it's an infusion essentially to it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right. So John, with you, because that was what you specified was your drink. That's it. It's your go-to when you go to a bar.
Yeah. So it is definitely my go-to drink. With traveling a lot for work, not so much during COVID, but it's always one of my first, it's the first drink that I order pretty much anytime that we go out to dinner. The bourbon it really depends on where I'm at, because we go to various restaurants. I could be in Fort Lauderdale on the water, and their bourbon selection may not be as robust as somewhere in other parts of the state or other parts of the country. So it really depends on where I'm at. It's depends on what I ask for in the old fashioned. I've become a foodie over the last 4-5ish years with traveling so much, getting to experience different cultures and different styles of food, that I actually enjoy when restaurants have a signature old fashioned, especially when they make their stuff in house. It's just a bombshell in your mouth of just different flavors.
Even if they pick the bourbon and it's not something you would normally pick.
I mean, man, I've had, I wouldn't drink Buffalo Trace on the rocks, but I've had some really good old fashions with a lower quality bourbon, whether it's 86 proof or right at 90 proof. Stuff that I may not just drink straight by itself, with the ingredients and sugars that they mix in with that alcohol, man, it just brings on a whole new flavor. If you're having a steak with, a ribeye or a pork chop or something, man, it's just like
pork chop.
Yeah, dude, it's just a whole different other
I
flavor.
haven't eaten since lunch. I appreciate you bringing that up.
So it really just depends on where I'm at, though. I mean, so it depends on what kind of bourbon. But it is my go-to. I've had a lot of bad experiences with old fashions, especially with traveling, going to different restaurants. There's some times where I was trying to find the restaurant that I went to in Fort Lauderdale, and they made it with they put club soda and a Florida beer in it.
I know where you're talking about. I've actually been to that same place. It's right there by the like almost like not a boardwalk, but like a shopping area.
Well, I know the street it's on. It's the Los Olas Boulevard.
Yeah, Los Olas.
Yeah. So it was somewhere off of there, but because it's right next to our office down there. But when they brought it to me, they brought it in a basically a pint, a beer pint, and I was just like, "Hey, is this old fashioned?" They're like, "Yeah." I was like, "It's our variation of it." And I was like, "Okay, well, I'll try it." And I tried it, and I was just like, "Oh, hell no!" If I'm paying $20 for a drink, I definitely ain't drinking this. But anyways, so I've had a lot of great experiences. I've had a lot of bad experiences. You can have a very great old fashioned with just simple ingredients, but it does speak to the quality of the ingredients that they use. I tend to, even when I make mine at home, I make my own simple syrup. I utilize only, no more than 2 sets of bitters. I'm a big orange guy, especially in my bitters or in my old fashioned.
Was that a shout out to Tennessee?
No, I like it. I like to keep it simple, bring quality into your drink. You don't need all the extra, fluff in there.
Not especially considering the history of the cocktail. So
for sure.
Yeah.
It seems like if I can chime in just a little bit, I guess with my own experiences regarding the old fashioned, it's like the whiskey drinker's conundrum. If you go out someplace and you're like, they don't have a great selection of bourbon, or I'm not trying to spend, $14 on a 1 ounce pour of something that's, okay, but not fantastic. I can use something that's a little bit lower quality and get myself an old fashioned. But then at the same time, you kind of have to size up the bartender, whoever's back there, and be like, do they have any idea what they're doing? Am I going to get some weird slushy drink? Because that's happened to me. It's very similar to what Jonathan described. Seriously, it was like crushed ice and it was pink, and I looked at it and I was like, what is this fruity nonsense? What is this? And you can't even taste the whiskey. It tastes like there's Sprite in it. Like, what the hell? Like it was just all wrong. And I got to a point, there was places I used to go out to regularly. I would explain to them how I wanted them to make it. And I was like, when that bartender's on, I can trust him. So when I ask him for an old fashioned, he's going to make me one that's solid, and I don't think have as quite as refined taste as some of you guys with regards to the bitters and everything else like that. But there's a wrong way to do it. And it's just to overload it with, the other, like the simple syrups or too much water or, not enough whiskey, basically, that you can't even really taste it. Like, it's easy enough to screw up if you don't really care what you're doing.
Well, and also,
Go ahead, Billy.
like the experience that Jonathan has had, I think a lot of times based on the location, like me personally here in Miami, I wouldn't go to a place and ask for old fashioned unless it was a true type of a bar that stuck to, stringent rules on how to really make it. I don't want a variant of an old fashioned. If I ask for an old fashioned, I want one. So here in Fort Lauderdale, Miami, especially like South Beach, I would not ask for an old fashioned because they're going to give you some junk. More so because 9 times out of 10, they're going to figure you for a tourist. But I would imagine in places like Tennessee, in the Carolinas, things like that, in Ohio, if you ask for an old fashioned, you're going to get a classic old fashioned.
Not all the time.
No,
we have that same problem here.
We do. That's the reason why I was asking John specifically about the type of bourbon, because every time I see one on the menu, I don't take the same approach he does, where I'm like, oh, just try the house one. I'm like, no. When I see that it's made with certain types of bourbon, I'm like, no, not going to do that. What else do you have? And then I usually put in something like that. For me, that's what I prefer.
So I'm getting ready to make my next drink. I can go through it here and show how I do it.
Cool.
You want?
Well,
Yeah.
unless Rob's guy's ready.
Okay.
Dawson here at the Renaissance of Tiffin is
Jeff
ready.
will do
He's
you
going to
next.
do me.
All right.
He's
let's
going to
do it.
do me a Knob Creek old fashioned. I'm going to flip the camera around and
That's a good choice.
I want to say hi to hold on. Say hi to Dawson.
Dawson,
Come on,
Dawson.
everybody. I'm Dawson. Today I'll be making you guys a old fashioned. So for starters, you grab 2 sugar cubes, throw them in there, and then you grab your branch water and your bitters. You just throw a few dashes of those in there. You throw those in there so that way, when you do that, it's
Dawson, what kind of bitters is that?
off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I'd have to go in the back and look real quick. I can grab it at the end. But use those so that way when you go to muddle, it's just nice and easy and they break
Love
down
muddling.
real good.
That's what she said.
After that, you're gonna get
She did.
yourself the orange slice, you throw it on top of there, and then you'll muddle that. You don't want to crush it, you just want to do it enough to where you can get the juice out of there. Once you're done muddling, you go over and get you a ice cube.
Clear ice, I hope.
No, John, it is not clear ice.
Oh. But go home. You guys are hack.
We have our big rocks in the shape of a cube. And once you get that, you'll grab your Luxarda cherries. Throw a cherry or 2 in there. That one's got 3. I'm feeling a little generous. Then you get some of the cherry juice and you drizzle it in there. Try and get that
Yeah, that's
down
what I'm
in
talking
there.
about.
And then, of course, it's not an old fashioned without your bourbon. So for this, at the Renaissance, we use the Knob Creek 100.
It's a good one, actually. Really good one.
So that is the Knob Creek 9, correct?
It's the 100 proof, so I believe it is the 9 or also a 12-year. They also do a 12.
Grab your jigger for about 1.5 to about 2 ounces.
I like that. Maybe a little bit more.
Real nice like. And that, my friend, is an old fashioned.
Man, tell Dawson we truly appreciate that. Oh, Dawson Creek.
The boys say thank you.
No problem. Pleasure's all mine.
So I followed him. For the most part, I do also use sugar cubes. The closest thing that
That was good.
Jeff, you might want to hold off a second because a lot of noise. There you go. There you go. Go
all
ahead.
right. Let's say I was following him. I was impressed because a lot of places do just use a simple syrup or anything, but the original recipe would have used loaf sugar. I have not been able to find loaf sugar. So sugar cube is the closest thing we have. So I do the same thing. I put the sugar cube, then I take the bitters. In this case, I'm going to use the Aztec chocolate bitters because I want to try it with that Eagle Rare.
Right.
I like to, I personally like a lot of bitters, so I put quite a bit in there. Most recipes will call for a dash or 2. That's what a part of the thing is to me, is just play with it, find out what you like. Then just a little splash of water. And then I just take a spoon and you just crush up that sugar into that mixture.
I actually bought a muddler. It's awesome. Love it.
Yeah, I do. I have one in there, but on the back of the spoon works great for this. So then after that, you just pour your spirits in there, and then I just kind of stir it up a bit so that most of the sugar dissolves. It doesn't completely all dissolve in there. That's part of just the flavoring of the drink. It sits there.
Okay.
And you can
That's good.
put a big ice cube in, you can drink it like that. Now, where I diverge from him is I don't do the fruit. The fruit in the old fashioned entered probably the late 1800s is when there's first tell of using muddled fruit into the cocktail. It actually didn't really hit its stride until like the 40s and the 50s, when the resurgence of cocktails like the old fashioned came back in America. But that's basically how the original cocktail would be. It's just the spirits, the bitters, the sugar, a little splash of water, and it's amazing the flavors. It's like I can smell the hints of chocolate coming out of there with hints of cherry from the bourbon. It's just it's amazing. Those bitters, that spirit play.
Is it cherry or raisin? Because when I drink Eagle Rare, I have a strong raisin is what I get out of it. But if it's cherry, I mean, that may be part of what the mixture makes.
It could be, and it also could just be my, a lot of flavor picking has to do with what you remember when you smell something, yep. what it reminds you of. So it could be a little bit. I'm also getting just a slight hint of like the red hots out of the smell.
Those little red hots that came in the little square box, you pour them in, put them in your mouth. Yeah. Good times.
Love those things.
I kind of have a question for everybody. So, we're all into our bourbons and whiskeys and whatnot, to be in this, to have this hobby, would you guys say it takes a certain, I don't know how to phrase this, certain income level?
No, that's funny. I was thinking about that today. I think that's a fantastic question. I think it's a great way to transition into another conversation. And do I think to search out some of the highly sought after bourbons, do I think that it takes a little bit more, expendable income to participate in those clubs? Probably so. Which is the reason why I give so much raves to Eagle Rare, because I truly do. I mean, you put that, you guys know I'm a Blanton's fanboy, but if you put Eagle Rare and Blanton's beside each other, I'm going to take Eagle Rare every time. I do truly believe it's the perfect bourbon. The only problem with it recently, within the last year or so, it's now living up to its namesake. It's becoming more and more rare.
Mm-hmm.
And
becoming allocated.
Yeah, it's becoming allocated. And like Rob, I know, and John both really like the Special Reserve Weller. I'm not a big fan of that, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It just means that it's not one of my favorites. And for the most part, you can find it relatively inexpensively at most of your local establishments.
$22.99 in Ohio. Yeah.
Not in Nashville, you can't.
Not in Nashville.
Nope.
Yeah, I mean, in Nashville, it's anywhere from, I've seen it as high as $79.99, I think it was.
It's funny that you guys talk about it like that. I've managed to get myself Eagle Rare, Maker's Mark, the limited release. I managed to get my hands on a whole case of, Heaven Hill and Rock Hill Farms. There's not a whole lot I really can't get my hands on, but the Weller, I've never seen it in the wild here. I've never seen it. It is like, forget about the unicorn. I can find a unicorn in Miami, but Weller is something totally different. That's why I'm convinced Rob works for him and he just won't let us have it. He's got to keep.
He's sending it to us. I mean, I still have to meet up with John, but he's sending it to us.
So my Weller old fashioned tie-in is I cannot get into Antique 107 at all. I've tried several different bottles. I just have not been a fan.
That's a favorite for me.
But when I use it to make an old fashioned, it's good.
My favorite with 107 is a Pappy, is a poor man's Pappy. I mean, when you take 107 and 12 year and you put them together, that is fantastic. That's better than any Pappy I've ever had. Now, granted, I've only had the 10 year, so I want to preface it by that 12 year and the 15 year, 23 year, 20 year, whatever might be much greater, which I think would make a great conversation that maybe we can have in the next, next 16 minutes is, does year matter to you? Like, do you taste, like I was thinking about this the other day after our last show. I went and looked at my bourbons and yeah, I have some that are aged significantly and stuff of that nature. But I find that 10 to 12 years, maybe a 13, are perfectly aged over some of the older stuff I have. What do you guys think?
Well, I think what it may come down to as well is if you had, let's say, Eagle Rare, the regular 10-year off the shelf, and then by some miracle or some luck, you got to taste, the Eagle Rare 17.
Life-changing, by the way. I just want to put that out there. That will make you strip naked and go, I don't care. I'll put a thimble in my mouth and
please go on. I want to hear more.
And it's awesome. All right.
Well,
that is freaking. Give me a passy and a blanket, and I will be happy as everything if you just give me another bottle. I mean, when I had Eagle Rare 17 2020 101 for the first time, and Jay had told me that it's life-changing, I'm like, come on, that's a bourbon. That's a bourbon lore, So, and I will be honest with you, freaking fantastic and life-changing.
Yeah.
Continue.
So I think you would have to have something to compare it to. So if you've only had the regular Eagle Rare 10-year, how would you know what the 17 was really like to even know if the year mattered to you? And then if you had, the 20-year, then what? I mean, listen, I don't think I want is the bottle, So I think you would
go in half season. I'll drink the fluid, and you drink the. You had the bottle.
That's a sweet bottle.
That sounds dangerous.
So I think you would have to have something to compare it to. But for me personally, do the years matter a lot? No, because I like what I like. I pair it with a good cigar or a good meal. And I have a tendency to think sometimes they kind of put you over the barrel, no pun intended, when you go up in years, So, not everybody's into Whistle Pig, but, the 6-year, it's great stuff. It's easy to get, reasonably priced. But when you get into the 10-year and the Boss Hog, I think they really, really just try to put it to you,
The Boss Hog's ridiculous priced.
Yeah, $359. I think it's what its MSRP on it is, or $349.
Yeah, I saw it the other day. I
think it's $499.
Yeah, I don't think that's MSRP. I think MSRP on it is $359 or $349.
I saw it at
$359 sounds about right in PA in Ohio.
Yeah,
I saw it at Total Wines and it was $500. Had it, in a display case and everything.
Yep.
I mean, but I happen to love the 6-year, and I don't think the 10-year is going to be all that for me to want to spend that kind of money. If I had that kind of money, I'll be getting to Stag Senior or something like that before.
Well, I can tell you the 10-year. I'm not a big fan of Whistle Pig. I think we've already discussed that. It's ranked slightly above Jack Daniels, but I have a store pick, Whistle Pig, and I will tell you that's fantastic. All right, or barrel pick, I should say, and that is a fantastic rye. It tastes good, but the 10, 12, and 15-year that I have, I completely got screwed over by my liquor guy. Yeah. I just went and bought it because I was like, you got to get this. This is like the best thing to get. I'm like, I was still, I guess, as we like to call it, a tater. And I was like, if that's what you call it, I'm like, yeah, sign me up. I got the income for that, Right. But one thing you brought up, Billy, that I want to revisit real quick, because I don't know if I answered that earlier. No, I want to be inclusive in our group for sure.
Yeah.
And we're not. Yes, some of us have ginormous amounts of bourbon or whiskeys, and we have several thousands of dollars invested. All right, several.
I know what you're talking about.
I wasn't just referring to you. All right, but
so vain. You thought that comment was about you.
Yeah, Blondie. But anyway, but
is that song about you?
We're just gonna do the whole thing here. Yeah, y'all let me know when you're done. I'll sit here and I'll just...
Hey, there's nothing like Joni Mitchell.
There's clouds in your eyes.
But
there's nothing like Joni Mitchell, so we can go all night with Joni Mitchell.
Is that who it is? Joni Mitchell. You're right. It is.
Carly Simon. Hello.
Yeah.
So tell me, guys,
is it Carly Simon or is it Joni Mitchell?
Carly Simon.
Joni Mitchell.
Simon.
Guys, let's get back to
Joni Mitchell.
Guys.
Yeah, we don't want to lose viewers.
I'll bet a bottle on Joni Mitchell. We'll come back to it.
All right, we'll
right,
cover
so-
that in the after show. But anyway,
Jonathan, what do you think? Tell us.
So me personally, I mean, it took me 6 months to get roughly 6 months to get, roughly 85-ish bottles. But it was something that, I didn't go out and buy all at once. It was something that, hey, paydays hit. And so I would go buy a bottle, sometimes depending on what they had, I may have gotten 2 bottles. But, to be honest, I've probably spent, I've bought bottles that are well over $100, but I don't think money really matters because you can get some great quality bourbons under $50. And if you look at your income and if you do really take your finances seriously, and you look at how much you're spending on Starbucks, McDonald's, at the cafeteria at your work, there's ways that you can cut back, on income, or ways that you can find some, income that you can pull back and say, what, I'm gonna save some money here. I'm gonna prep my lunch for, and eat on my own, so I could buy that next bottle of bourbon. That entire, shelf right here, all under $30. Larceny to Old Granddad to Jim Beam bottle of Dawn.
Oh, Granddad, that's some good stuff. I like it.
That's some good quality bourbon, and that's usually my first go-to stop with anybody who's not, a big bourbon drinker. But you can get yourself a really nice collection for under $30 a bottle. And B, I think, and I would call you a bourbon connoisseur at that point because you understand good quality bourbon for the price.
Yeah, I agree with you on that aspect. I mean, like, I made it known earlier. I've said it in numerous shows. I am a Blanton's fanboy. I love Blanton's. All right. Do I think it's the best bourbon that's out there? No. I think a lot of the novelty that came to it was the horse heads and the bottle shape and stuff like that. Let's be transparent and real here. Do I think it's really good? Yes. Would I take it to like a friend's wedding if I was invited? Yes, I would. Would I give it to family if they wanted a good bourbon to drink? Absolutely. But with it because of its limited availability and hard to find, and you're going to spend a lot more money. Do I think it's worth it's supposed to be $42 a bottle. All right. You name the place that you can find it for $42 a bottle. I'll be there tomorrow and I'll buy up the entire place. All right.
Problem. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Exactly.
It's not. That's this problem. It's not. Yeah. It's normally on a good day, you can get it from 69 to literally, I seen it today for $100 a bottle. Yeah. All right.
I saw it for 80 at my place today.
Yeah, I seen it in all the liquor stores I stopped in today in Savannah, Tennessee, which was a fantastic trip. If you've never been out there and you're a local listener, Savannah, Tennessee, apparently they don't drink top shelf whiskey. You can find it. When she took me back to the cellar, I was thinking, I'm gonna find BTACs back here. Like, it's gonna happen. And they had 2 cases of Blanton's and they had the baby Blanton's. And I initially said I wanted a case of Blanton's. I was just going to buy that. And but my guy Bobby is hooking me up with some Blanton's that's coming in at the end of the month. And I know what the price point is on that. And her price point was not bad, but it was not what I normally get it for.
Right.
Gotcha.
And again, and the reason I brought up this question is because I've never bought a case of anything. And because of the relationships I have cultivated with one of my local stores, not only did I get a personal phone call, but, I bought a whole case. It wasn't out of my price range. And normally the Heaven Hill's about $44 a bottle. Yeah. And I didn't pay that for a bottle. So I felt like, what? I'm going to buy a case, and I thought to myself, is this a normal thing? Yeah. Do people buy cases at a time? And when it comes to champagne and wine, which can be out of price range sometimes, depending on what you're looking for. But it just really made me think: do you have to have a certain income? So, Mark, Jeff, especially Rob, I would love to know what you guys think about that.
Well, I agree with some of the others that you can get good stuff depending on your price range. I know now, I do know since I've gotten more into the bourbon groups and the bourbon world, I'm definitely spending more than I used to.
Yeah, well, that's amen on that. This is like a sermon.
But you know, I've also learned enough that if I didn't have a situation where I couldn't afford some of the nicer bottles, and I still cringe at some of the prices some people pay. To me, I can't see myself ever paying $150 for a bottle, because I know so many other things I could get 5 of for that same price. But
preach, Jeff. I think I'm right there with you, but go ahead.
But yeah, you can get some. I mean, you just got to get out there and you got to try a bunch of different things in your price level, and you'll find them. I did. You said you never bought a case till then. Back in December, I bought a case of Rebel 100.
Okay.
I was at a store.
Good whiskey.
Elixir Spirit. Oh, again, you go for the price. It's amazing. I'd put it up against any $30-$35 bottle, and it's $15 to $19 depending on where you are.
Yep. Yeah.
And I was at Elixir Spirits down in Spring Hill, and he had it for 15. Yeah, it's a great place. He had it for 15. I'm like, Tarek, how are you selling this thing for 15? It's like $19 in my area. And he goes, that's what I can sell it for. And he goes, you buy a case, I'll sell it to you for $13.50 a bottle.
Nice.
I'm like, how many bottles in a case? He goes, 6. I said, yeah, I'll take a case.
There you go.
He did that with me with Caribou whiskey, which I personally like. Caribou Crossing, a lot of people don't like, or they think it's the Blantons of the North. It does have a fantastic. I mean, that header is. You can't get a better topper than that. I mean, I like to hunt, and that right there, I want to kill that.
Did you eat a lot of Cracker Jack as a child? I'm curious, because like you really need to get the prize, like the topper.
Just the nuts. You eat just the nuts out of the box.
Just saying.
I just need to know, like,
yeah,
you know, out of the cereal to get the cereal.
I'm just saying that it looked fabulous, and I bought it, and and
nothing against Blanton's or Caribou. I'm just saying, like, you see that and you're like, yeah.
I'm just saying that when I first got into the community, you know, it was one of the buying points for me. That's a cool looking bottle. That looked good on my shelf, or in my bar, or in the barrel, or in down here, or upstairs.
I ought to get you that lusty claw.
Honestly, if I can fill it with something other than that, I have that too. I mean, because you sent.
I sent this one. Yeah, I sent this to you.
Yeah. I mean, it's in our video.
Yeah.
I mean, it's.
Oh yeah.
You recorded the video.
I sure did.
I love that old elk topper, man. That's
that's freaking cool. Yeah.
I got. I have one. I haven't used it yet, but maybe
I haven't used it either. I've not used it either. Hey guys, we're close to the top of the hour. I want to do a rapid fire real quick. All right. So you guys brought up some interesting aspects, and I think that if we were looking at, like today, I bought 2 bottles of Eagle Rare, both for $32.88. I want to, yeah, that's not bad at all. That's MSRP. That is fantastic. All right. So if you guys could go into a store with $40, we'll start with John, and I'll go John, David, Jeff, Billy, Jack, Mark, and Rob. All right. Where are we starting at? What are you buying for $40? John, I gave you $40. What are you buying?
And $40, I'm gonna have to go to my my old granddad Bottle and Bond. I mean, that's a solid pick for me. So that's how I'm spending my $40.
You're taking some home with you at that. I think I saw that for like 23 today.
Yeah, I think gas money too.
I think I think it's about a $29.99 bottle. I think it's about the average price I've been seeing it for.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
David, what about you?
I need to go back then. $40. I think I've seen Hulling Station at 40. It might've been 44, depending on where you go. I like the Hulling Station. The weeded one was really nice. Or I might just hit up Diplomatico, switch over to rum.
Okay. Jeff.
So one of my favorites in under 40 would be the Elijah Craig. Love Elijah Craig for that.
Nice.
If I found it where it's supposed to be, E.H. Taylor, but that's a huge if.
Yeah, that's a ginormous if. You're not going to find that. You're not going to find small batch at that price.
Yeah. Or again, I go back to that the Rebel 100, you can get 2 bottles for that price. And it really is a phenomenal, the specifically the 100 proof the Rebel 100 is just, it's a phenomenal bourbon. But don't tell anybody, because we don't want it to become Weller.
You realize this is a show, right? All right,
But
Billy.
only 100 people
yeah.
watch. So.
Yeah.
Don't anybody tell anybody.
Actually,
You
more than
know-
100 people watch. We just have 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
Anyway, Billy, you go ahead.
There's several things I think you can get for under $40 that I think a lot of people underestimate. But $40, Heaven Hill, Noble Oak, Monkey Shoulder, things like
I
that.
don't like Monkey Shoulder.
I
I
actually
guess
do.
so.
I think it has a nice. I think a Monkey Shoulder is something that you could give away. You can gift.
Jody, that's a
You can
scotch.
Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
why he doesn't
Scotch.
like it.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's exactly why.
I give away a lot of stuff that nobody will buy or take.
Yeah, but
I mean, I'll just give it away to him, like Joseph Mangum or Magnus. Yeah, I've got the freaking whatever the bottle is. It's on my very bottom shelf, and it's $100 and something, and I'm like, dude, just please take it off my life.
Yeah, so I know with $40 you can definitely play, and also, I guess if you went into a place with $40 where you didn't have that kind of built-in relationship with the owners, and now, like you, Jody, you have a good relationship with your guy Bobby. Now I don't pay retail for almost anything that I pick up, but I always make sure to buy multiple bottles. But it is then worth it for me because, I can walk out with 4 bottles that normally, that would probably run you a couple of bills, and I spend less than 100 now,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Jack Frost,
Well, I mean, are we talking
$40. That's all we're
Yeah,
talking
but-
about.
that I can find in a store, or
He wants to make a deal.
Like, no, $40. So if I gave you $40, you went into your local today, what do you buy?
We can't make a deal.
It'd be either the Shenanigans Blue Peak,
I agree with you.
or
That's fantastic.
or Knob Creek, probably.
Cool. Marky Mark.
All right, so it would be a combination. So I'm gonna name 4, but it will be a combination of whichever 2 that I could get under at 40, and I should be able to get any 2 of these at 40. It would be Early Times Ball and Bond, Larceny, Elijah Craig, or Four Roses Yellow.
Nice. Rob.
You can get 2 Early Times.
I could, but I wouldn't want 2. I want something else. I like variety, but you're right.
So in PA, I can get Eagle Rare 10-year at $32.99 a bottle. That, as long as it's on the shelf, I'm grabbing that. The Elijah Craig Toasted Barrel is at $39.99, and
Where?
probably an Old Forester 1910 I can get at $39.99.
I can't find it under 69.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I was surprised no one said Woodford Reserve. I think Woodford is a fantastic, like entry level, good, solid bourbon.
choice.
Yeah,
The Double Oak is phenomenal.
Yeah,
I forgot to mention Long Branch too.
Long Branch is another one.
Long Branch, yeah.
And also I was surprised that nobody mentioned Russell. Russell 10-year is usually right at $39.
Yeah.
But I had already told you guys what mine was, and that was Eagle Rare. If I can find it, like I did today, $32.99. That is, I bought 2 bottles, and then I went back in the back, and she had a whole case, and I was like, oh, man, ridiculous. I could have spent way too much money there. Anyhow, guys, I still have bills to pay. So anyhow, guys, this is always fun. I truly appreciate. What?
I tell you one thing. So I just pour the Eagle Rare straight.
Eagle Rare.
Eagle Rare straight. And I'm not smelling the cherry, and the Red Hots is way fainter. So yes, that play with that Aztec chocolate bitters brought out some those flavor notes. I can see where you're talking about the raisin smell on just the straight.
Yeah.
I'm getting more on the straight. So yeah, that play of the bitters and the spirits really changes the flavor and the smell profile a lot.
The good thing is you don't have COVID. So guys, cheers to everybody. All have a wonderful night.
All right, brothers.
Cheers,
Be good to yourself.